gonna try and stand in front of the mic, but know that I am a pacer. So we'll see how this works. No, I'm gonna do this. I see now where this is going for me. Okay, so I'm Allison Ford. I make jewelry under the name of Studio AMF, which is not very clever. The AMF is actually Allison Marie Ford, so it's nothing as cool as paint colors and amazing museums. And my story that I'd like to share with you is kind of the story of how I came to be here today. And in the broader sense, it's the story of a single choice that I made that changed the course of my professional or artistic life in Indianapolis. So I'd like to take you back to the end of summer of 2008. So I've been making jewelry for about a year at that point. I had my first baby in April, so I have a little one that I'm taking care of that's just a few months old. And I had lost my job the previous winter, so I'm a stay-at-home mom and I'm making stuff. And I had really been enjoying some level of success selling online, and by success I mean I had made a sale or two online, and I consider that successful. And I had showed at a couple different art shows around the state, but I really wanted to try and kind of get into or break into a local scene, an art scene in Indianapolis. So I'm selling on Etsy, and through Etsy I had become a member of something called the In Crowd, which is a group of Indiana artists and crafters or like-minded people all around the state, and they are, you know, we're all trying to make a name for ourselves, all trying to be successful in what we're doing. So the In Crowd maintained these forums, these boards, where you could go and find information that was relevant to what we were all trying to do, and one of the boards was about upcoming shows. So I'm looking on the boards, and I find out about something called the Indiana Handicraft Exchange. So the Indiana Handicraft Exchange is interesting to me for a couple of reasons. And the first is because it's in Indianapolis. So I don't have to drive anywhere, I don't have to find a hotel, I don't have to worry about any of that additional expense. And it's at the Harrison Center, and I've been there a couple times, but you know, at least I know where it is. I'm not horribly familiar with it, but it's like 8 miles from my house. So the second reason is that the Handicraft Exchange had dubbed itself as a craft fair for contemporary craft. So for me, I make wooden jewelry, and I had run into some issues with how to define what I was doing. So I had been rejected in in some different craft fairs or art shows because what I was making wasn't deemed fine art. So the materials I was using, I didn't have the high-end materials. I was kind of repurposing or using a very commonplace item, and people didn't really, I guess I didn't know how to define myself, so I was somebody else. But the idea of contemporary craft really appealed to me because, you know, on one end I wasn't a fine artist, but at the other end I also, you know, the craft fair was not my target audience either, so I was kind of lost in between, and that really appealed to me. So I'm getting excited as I'm reading on the forum about this Handicraft Exchange in its second year, you know, and I keep reading and I see applications are closed. Well, you know, like I've got my heart set on it, and now I see that I'm too late. It was not meant to be. So at that point, I kind of, you know, I'm new to this, so I never really thought about, I've never sent an email to anyone, contacting someone, you know, to try and kind of bend the rules. How can I get in? As I know it's late, what can we do to make this happen? So I get my photos together, and I send the email out to Amanda Tafflinger over here, and I'm, you know, I know it's late. What can I do to get into your show? And I'm so nervous, and a few days later, she comes back and says, well, I'm intrigued by what you're making. Okay, you know, there's gonna be a spot for you at the show, and I'm so excited. So now Amanda becomes to me like the end-all be-all of how I'm going to implant myself in the craft scene in Indianapolis. You're like, what can I do to help you? Do you have any other events coming up? Do you need me to help you move things, set up? What can I do? I don't know how many emails I sent her. I feel like it was a lot. My memory's a little bit fuzzy. I hope I wasn't, you know, borderline stalker status over here. But, so anyway, I get to the Handicraft Exchange, and I meet Amanda, and And I'm Allison Ford. Thank you so much for this opportunity. What can I do to help you right now? Can I help you move that table? Do you want me to get you a drink? You know, I feel like I feel like she finally gave me something to do to just be like, get this girl out of my face. Who is this girl, you know? So I have my handicraft exchange, and it's fantastic. So, you know, I sell more than I ever have in a single place before, and I meet this vast array of people and their skill sets and all of the things that are going on, this energy that's happening in the city that I've lived here for years and never knew. I had no idea that this was going on, and it was so great and refreshing to be a part of this community. And you know, at that time too, I met Joanna Taft, who has since become a longtime customer for me, but she was the director of the Harrison Center, and she brought me to the Harrison Center, where I now have had my studio for, you know, almost, it'll be 4 years of January, so. And so the Handicraft Exchange comes and goes, and a little bit further down the road, Amanda facilitates a meeting with herself, and she includes me and 2 other women, Amy McAdams and Candace McDonald, and we talk and we form something called the IndyCraft Mafia, which has kind of since come and gone, but our friendship has remained. So, you know, we're still, the 4 of us are great friends, and we've, you know, now there have been kids introduced into this group, and our children are growing up together in this spirit of craft and art and entrepreneurial, next generation little ones running around. It's so fantastic. But for me, I can trace so many of the opportunities, the media coverage that I've had with, you know, magazine articles and opportunities in the newspaper, and even standing up here, to the one choice that I made to go out on a limb outside of my comfort zone and try and, you know, make that happen for myself. You know, and it's so rare that you can actually that you can pinpoint those events in your life. And at the end of the day, our lives seem to be, without sounding incredibly high and mighty, our lives just seem to be a collection of choices that we make. And I think it's just so uplifting and great to know that at any moment, the next choice the next choice or decision that you have could be the one that, you know, changes your life forever. So I'll leave you with that.